Yeah, assalamu alaikum guys, good morning. And today we're going to start a new chapter. As I told you yesterday, we're starting chapter 13. Okay, we're done from chapter 12 yesterday. And today we're starting chapter 13. Rashid, good morning, Rashid. How are you? Okay, now chapter 13, you're going to study it from the textbook. Okay, chapter 13, you're going to study it from the textbook as usual. More notes, but I'm gonna provide you also with the summary as usual since we started the online classes, and I'm providing
Hello,
you
Miss.
PowerPoint. Hala, assalamu alaikum. Hala, Mit'ab, how are you?
Hello, Miss.
Here too. How are you guys?
Very good.
Alaikum assalam. Good morning. How are you doing, guys? Nice to see you.
Fine.
Okay, and Badr is here too. Hala, Badr. Good morning. And
Good morning.
joined also. Khalid Ghanim is here. Good morning, Khalid. How are you?
Fine, alhamdulillah.
Fine. So I was just saying that today we're starting the new chapter, which is chapter 13, and you're going to study it from the textbook as usual. I'll provide you with the PowerPoint presentation and the summary and so on. After we're done, inshallah, everything will be uploaded on Google Classroom. So let's start first thing with our whiteboard, so that we can communicate ideas. Here we go. You can see now the whiteboard, and let's start typing. Okay, now chapter 13, as I was just saying, is about two new systems. Remember that chapter 10 was about the digestive system. Chapter 11 was about the circulatory system. Chapter 12 was a kind of a continuation to chapter 11 because it was about blood, okay? And last part was about the immune system. Now today we're starting chapter 13 about two new systems. They are responsible for two processes: respiration. This is the first system. And the second one would be related to another process called excretion. So we're going to cover two new systems responsible for the process of excretion and the process of respiration. Now, raise your hands whenever I ask you a question, okay? Which system is responsible for respiration? Raise your hands. Yes, Mana, go ahead.
Miss, it's the lungs and the bronchitis and the
lung
pipe
and so on. Good job. What's the name of the system? Mahsan, can you help, please?
Respiratory system.
And respiratory system. Good job. Okay, so as Mana just said, the main part of the respiratory system, this would be your lungs, and the whole system is the respiratory system, responsible for the process called respiration. And we're going to speak about respiration in a little bit. Now, the second system is excretion. So what do you think the name of the system is? What's the name of the system responsible for a process called excretion? Yes, Khalid Al-Ghanim, go ahead. Can you help us?
شو اسمه the intestines.
Intestine, thank you. This is one of the parts that helps us in the excretion of solid wastes. But let me be more clear over here. If I specifically say excretion of liquid waste, what would you say?
Gallbladder.
The gallbladder. No, thank you so much for this, but not the gallbladder. Let's try another one, huh? Who knows? Yes, Mana, go ahead.
But it's excretory system.
Excellent. Excretory system. Excretory system is the one responsible for excretion of liquid things. Excretory system. And the excretory system here has another name. We can call it urinary system. Urinary system. And so clear over here, we're talking about urine. And this would be the process of excretion. So mainly we're talking about liquid waste over here. There are three types of wastes, by the way, that our body mainly get rid of. They are the solid waste, as just Khalid Al-Ghanim said. That's actually coming from the digestive system, anus, and so on, which we covered in chapter 10. Another waste, which is the carbon dioxide from your nose and lungs, respiratory system. And the third one that we will focus in the process of excretion about would be urine, using your urinary system. And here comes another question. What is the main part of your urinary system? What would be the main organ of your urinary system?
Can you repeat what does mean urinary system?
The question again, the excretory system or the urinary system is one related to the excretion of liquid waste. It's the one that helps you get rid of urine. Now, what's the name of the organ responsible for this main organ? Anyone other than Hassan and Mana, huh? Anyone else? Can someone give it a try? Mahsan, go ahead, huh? What is it?
Your bladders.
Bladder would be one of the organs. That's correct as well. But we need one more, actually, that's more main than the bladder. And Amiri, yes, go ahead.
The kidney.
Excellent. Your kidneys, excellent. So it seems that we're going to focus on the lungs, of course, and along with other parts, but lungs would be our main parts for the respiratory system, and kidneys will be our main part for the excretory system. Over sections 1, 2, and 3, three sections of chapter 13, we will focus on the process of respiration, respiratory system, and the problems that might affect. And in the last section, section 4, we're going to focus on the excretory system. So I'm going to remove the excretory system parts from here now and focus mainly on our respiratory system. And let's ask for one important question. What do you think is the function of your respiratory system? And raise your hands. What do you think is the function of your respiratory system? Other than Mana, Mana, mashallah, so active, mashallah alayha. Let's ask for Badr. Yalla Badr, please. What do you think is the function of your respiratory system?
Once again?
What do you think is the function of your respiratory system? What do you think? Try to guess, maybe it's correct, huh? What is the function of your respiratory system? What does your respiratory system help you with? No idea? Badr, try to think of your nose and stuff like this, huh? Mana, go ahead.
Take in oxygen, give off carbon dioxide.
That's great, excellent. Khalid Rozan, go ahead.
Inhalation and exhalation.
That's great. Good job, guys. I'll write both of what you said. It's simply the inhalation, okay, inhalation, okay, and exhalation of, exhalation of the gases. Okay, which gases? Those are the O2 gases and the CO2 gases. Carbon dioxide and oxygen. So as just you said, guys, exhalation and inhalation, those are the process by which you get to have the gases in and out. Rashid, good job, Rashid, breathing. And thank you for saying the word breathing. Rashid just typed this word. Thank you for saying breathing. Why? Because here I would like to clarify the difference between the two words. The difference between the word breathing and the word respiration. Okay, what's the difference between them? Simply, breathing is the action of taking in and giving off gases. So when I breathe in, this is inhalation, I'm taking in oxygen, and this is exhalation, I'm giving off carbon dioxide. This is simply breathing. It's a mechanical process of the chest taking in oxygen and giving off carbon dioxide. But for respiration, it's different. For respiration, it's actually the use of O2 in your cells to get energy. And here simply, of course, you should think of the word cellular respiration. Remember when we covered chapter 19 and we said cellular respiration is the process by which your cells use oxygen, of course, plus food, and mainly it was glucose, so that they can get energy. And as a waste product, you get carbon dioxide as well as water. Remember the equation that stated glucose plus oxygen. Okay, in your cells, they are going to produce the energy needed. Remember the ATP, okay, plus CO2, which is carbon dioxide, and water, which is waste as well. So there is a difference between the word breathing and the word respiration, or to be more specific, between the process of breathing and the process of respiration. Breathing is just inhaling, exhaling, breathing in, breathing out. That's it, mechanical. It's the action of taking in a gas or giving off another. But when I speak about respiration, it's actually the function of the cell chemically by using oxygen and food in order to get the energy. So make sure you differentiate between them very well. One more time, respiration is a chemical process that happens in your cells for them to get energy, and this happens by taking in oxygen and food. While breathing is just a mechanical means a movement of your chest and pulling in oxygen and giving off carbon dioxide. Clear? Okay, now for us as humans, our respiratory system and mainly the lungs is responsible for the breathing thing, taking in oxygen, giving off carbon dioxide, and also to deliver oxygen to the blood so that the blood can give it to the cells. Now, what about other animals? Let's share over here few images so that we speak about some animals as well. You can see over here few animals, and of course including humans as well. We said humans, they breathe in using lungs, the main organ. So here for humans, I would type in lungs. Okay, let's use the black color. Now, what do you think about fish? What do you think fish breathe in through? You'll raise your hands, it's so easy, even shown here. Yes, Ameri, go ahead.
Gills.
Gills, excellent, as actually written over here. Gills are special parts of the fish that allows it to breathe in gases within water. Oh, miss, do fish actually take in oxygen and give off carbon dioxide? Yes, they do. But miss, in the water, there is no oxygen. There is no carbon dioxide. No, there is actually, because oxygen in the water is dissolved, and the gills have the ability to extract this oxygen from the water and also to give off carbon dioxide in the water. Now, what about over here? You can see an earthworm. What do you think the earthworm, how does it breathe in and out? Yes, Khalid Al-Ghanem, go ahead.
Pores.
Pores, you're so close, but where are those pores, Khalid, huh? Pores where? Pores are small.
I don't.
All over the skin. Pores all over the skin. The skin is actually acting as the respiratory organ for the earthworm or generally worms. Worms use their skin in order to breathe in and out, take in oxygen and give off carbon dioxide. All over the skin, meaning that it's not only a specific part helps them, it's the whole skin. Okay, what about for the insect over here? You can see a grasshopper here. How you think this insect is breathing? Raise your hands. Huh? How you think the insect's breathing? Abdulaziz, can you hear me, Aziz? How you think this insect is over here? This one, the grasshopper is breathing. Any idea? Yusuf Hussein, how you think it's breathing? So clear over here from the diagram. Yusuf Hussein, can you hear me? Oh, you're typing? Okay, let's see. Oh, Aziz, from its body. You're close, Aziz, but where exactly from its body?
Trachea.
Huh? I can hear who's saying?
Trachea.
Trachea. Thank you, Wazan, but trachea is for humans, not for an insect. Thanks for trying. Ameri, yes?
The spiracle.
Okay, sparkle. That's actually shown on the diagram. Great. But can we make it more clear for the students? Mania, go ahead.
Alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Good morning, Kareem. Why are you late, Kareem? You overslept?
No, I was awake.
Okay. We're still
It's pores all over the body.
Excellent, Manad. It's actually small tubes all over the body. Over here, it's not going to be just a pore or a simple structure. It will be kind of tubes. You can see it over here. Let me annote it by drawing. Over here, you can see those ones. You meant trachea over here. Trachea is for humans, but over here, it's something that is much smaller than the human trachea, that we call it small tubes or spiracle. But you don't have to know the word spiracle, okay? Those tubes over here, you can see that they are branched all the way inside its body. This is for the insect, in order to deliver oxygen to the cells and pick up carbon dioxide. Then, if they would like to exit the body as carbon dioxide, it leaves through those small tubes, or for oxygen, it enters also through those tubes. So for an insect like the one shown here, a grasshopper, they have small tubes. And for humans, we have mainly the lungs. For fish, the gills. For the earthworm over here, or generally worms, the skin. Now, the last one shown here would be the frog. How do you think the frog is exchanging gases? How you think frog is exchanging gases? Let's ask Met'ab. Met'ab, can you help here, please? Met'ab, can you hear me? Okay, Badr or Nasr Saghabi. ما شاء الله مانع عن عميري are participating a lot. Saghabi, Nasr.
Hi, Miss. Yes.
Yes, how are you?
Very good.
Okay, help us here, please. We're trying to figure out how does this frog breathe in and out? How does it exchange gases? What is
Miss, when his like mouth chest area expands and retracts.
Uh-huh.
Miss, this is when it pulls on oxygen.
That's great, but which organ, which part specifically will help it to
The
expand?
mouth cavity.
Okay, mouth cavity is actually through where the oxygen can get, or the nose, like us. But which
Yes.
organ specifically? I want a
Lungs.
specific organ.
The lungs.
Great, excellent.
The
Was
lungs.
and excellent. Thank you so much, Nasser. Lungs, okay, but it's not the only way. You know, because the frogs are amphibians, so also they live in water and on land. So let's go for Kareem. Kareem, go ahead. Other than lungs, do frogs have another way of
Oh,
respiration?
no. I was gonna say lungs, but
For breathing in, huh? Any
yes,
idea?
I was gonna say lungs.
Ah, you were about to say lungs. Thank you. Okay, let's see Mana and Ameri. Ameri, go ahead.
Miss, I don't know where, but it is at the back.
Okay, at the back, as you can see it over here. Fine, thank you, Mana.
Gills.
Gills, actually that is true. Gills would be whenever they are still small in size, the tadpole phase. You know that frogs before becoming adults, they are very small, similar to the fish, and they are called tadpoles. If they are small like tadpoles, they use gills. But when they are adults, like the one shown in the diagram here, they will use lungs or something with S. Once I say S, immediately you get to know that it's that SK.
Small tube.
Skin.
Skin.
Actually, it's the skin. Okay, it's the skin because frogs actually are amphibians. Amphibians means that they live part of their life maybe on land or in water. If they are on land, they use the lungs mainly. And if they are in water, they use the skin. Okay, so they have kind of two parts that allows them to exchange gases and to breathe in and out. So as you can see here from this slide, the aim of this slide is just to show you that different living things, they use different parts in order to breathe in and out, to take in oxygen, to give off carbon dioxide, and so on. If it's for the humans, lungs mainly. If it is for the fish, gills. For like earthworm, there are pores in the skin. And for the frogs, they have two parts, lungs and skin as well. As for insects, there are small tubes. And here comes another question. Regardless of all of those organs, all of them do the same function, which is helps in breathing, taking in the oxygen, giving off the carbon dioxide. But now here comes one thing, one important thing, which is what do all of those parts have in common? What do all the parts, the respiratory parts, of course, parts have in common? What do you think, guys? Something that's going to help all of those parts to do their function very well. Something that's similar to the villi. If you remember the villi in the small intestine, they used to have something to allow them absorb nutrients very fast. What's over here in all of the respiratory system parts that helps them to exchange gases fast and in high amounts at the same time? What do you think?
Capillaries.
Something starts with S. And in math, we can commonly abbreviate it as SA. Yes, Kareem?
Oh, not lungs.
Lungs is the part, but I'm looking for a feature within the lungs, a feature within the skin, a feature within the small tubes, within the gills that allows organisms to exchange gases fast and at a high rate as well. SA in math is calculation of surface area. Surface area. Surface area.
Not that.
So it's not usually abbreviated as SA, okay, but to make it easy for you, giving you the initial. Surface area, guys, is actually what makes those parts able to do their function very fast. As for the lungs, it's very large in size. You would say, Miss, but it's actually fitting in my chest fine and I feel it's small. Yeah, of course, as for organ taking space, it is small, but if we take out the lungs and we stretch all the tissue, we will find it huge. We will find it very big. Remember again, the villi in your small intestine. The small intestine itself is actually 7 meters in length, and you're all maybe 2 meters maximum, or maybe 180 centimeters. So how does it fit? It's just coiled and looped all the way. Similarly over here, the lungs or the skin or maybe the gills, they have a large surface area, and this large surface area allows fast gas exchange. Fast gas exchange means so fast oxygen is in and carbon dioxide is out to help those organisms to stay alive, because you know that we all need oxygen to breathe in and out. And here comes another question, and I'll pick up Metab because Metab didn't reply first. Metab, are you here? Metab, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Miss.
Okay, please. Here I have a question, Metab, for you. Do you think that all animals, again, do you think that all animals have a respiratory system?
Yes.
What do you think? Yes or no? And try to go back to
Yes.
chapter 7. Do you think
I think
that,
yes, Miss.
yeah, you think yes. Thank you, Metab. So let's see for Saleh. Saleh, what do you think?
Yes.
Do all animals have a respiratory system?
Yes.
Okay, same as Metab. Okay, thank you. Let's see for, let's pick up someone else. Let's pick up Rashid. Rashid? Rashid, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Rashid,
Not all.
your friend said that the respiratory system is found in all animals, and you're saying not all of them, right?
Yes.
You're correct, but can you give me an evidence? What's your evidence that not all animals
Because
have a respiratory system? Yes, Rashid, go ahead.
because not all use oxygen.
Not all use oxygen. It's actually they all need oxygen, but think of the structure. So let's see, Mana can help. Mana, go ahead. Can you help Rashid? Mana?
Miss,
Yes, go ahead.
sponges.
Excellent. Remember, guys, in chapter 7, when we spoke about sponges and we spoke about the coral reefs, the hydra, and all of those simple animals, we said that they don't have systems at all. There is no lung, there is no kidney, no organs. So, Miss, how do they get the gas in and out? Yusuf Hussein will help, huh? Yusuf Hussein?
I think
Huh?
because they don't have mouth and nose.
Okay, of course, they don't have those parts, but how do they get an oxygen and give off carbon dioxide? They are still in need of the oxygen, and they need to get rid of carbon dioxide. So how? Yes, Khalid Ghanem.
The same pores.
Pores, great, okay, but what actually helps them with the pores? Mahsan.
The environment around them helps them
Which is
activate their
that?
systems.
Excellent, which is the water. Remember, guys, when we said that those living organisms live in water, so water is acting for them as the blood, it's acting for delivering food, it's delivering oxygen, it's picking up the waste and everything. So the answer is no, not all living things have a respiratory system, okay? Because some of them, like simple animals, they don't have this system. Instead, water is to bring them whatever they need and to take off whatever they do not need. Okay, guys? Okay, so far we've been talking about the first part of chapter 13, which is about the process of respiration. Respiration is a process in which cells use an oxygen. Okay, here we go for the spotlight. They use an oxygen and food in order to get energy. Don't forget this equation. This equation already we covered it earlier in chapter 19, and it's with us also here in chapter 13, where cells use food, glucose, and oxygen to get the energy ATP, and as a waste product, carbon dioxide and water, they are released. Now, breathing is different. Remember when Rashid spoke about breathing? Breathing is just taking in oxygen and giving off carbon dioxide. It's not for taking the oxygen to the cells. Now, we as humans mainly use our lungs because this is actually the main organ of the respiratory system. Let's go to the respiratory system for humans and check a simple diagram. Let's share it over here and go for the human respiratory system. Okay, here back to the presentation. Okay, here we go. This is a simple diagram for the human respiratory system, and let's start discussing it together. You can see over here the lungs. Can you see the lungs, guys? You see the lungs over here? You do, right? Here are they.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, yes.
And
Yes, Miss.
And my question is, Miss, you wrote R in the left side and you wrote L in the right side. Miss, isn't it supposed to be the opposite? Huh, guys, what do you think? Is the direction
No,
right?
it's correct.
Yes, correct.
Correct.
Once
Excellent. Huh?
it's a person who's thinking.
Excellent. Remember that always the diagrams are mirror image. So here the directions should be opposite because it's like a person shown in front of you, like someone is standing in front of you. So the directions will be opposite. Good job, guys. Okay. So you can see over here our lungs. We have 2 lungs and they are pyramidal in shape. But did you know something over here, especially for the left lung? The left lung is kind of having a part that's to the inside a little bit, and it seems to be a little bit smaller than the right lung. Any idea why? Why here the left lung is having a kind of a bump to the inside? Yes, Nasser Sagabi, go ahead.
Miss, it is smaller in size because the left side is where the heart is.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Remember earlier, guys, when we spoke about the circulatory system and we said that the heart is in the middle of your chest and a little bit tilted to the left. So tilted to the left little bit means that it's taking part of this space where the lungs is. So our heart is in between the lungs, definitely. And that's what we spoke about earlier in chapter 11. Okay, so here we have H, which is the heart. Okay, now we start first with the part where we breathe in. We breathe in through our nose. So here we breathe in through our nose. This would be number 1. The nose has nostrils, and nostrils are the openings within the nose to allow oxygen in and to allow carbon dioxide out. Now, inside the nose, you have tiny nose hairs, the ones I'm trying to draw over here as small lines. What do you think the nose hair function is?
They help us breathe.
Okay, but think more deeper than this. Other than breathing, what do they do? Hair. Yes, is Hamad?
Clean the air. Clean the air.
Aha, excellent, Saleh. Clean the air. Thank you. But make sure, guys, you raise your hands, okay? Excellent. So the nose hair within your nose is a kind of sweepers. They trap in the dust. They clean the entering air. So it's not just for breathing, Kareem, because they are inside there. They aren't the ones doing the action of breathing in. They are the ones that clean in the air. Good. Okay. And then behind your nose, there is an area over here that you can see been labeled as nasal cavity or nasal chamber. Either you say nasal cavity or nasal chamber. Your nasal cavity or nasal chamber actually is full of a sticky substance called mucus, but in a very thin layer or small amount. What is the mucus to do, guys? Mucus is sticky. So what do you think it does? What do you think is the function of the mucus? Any idea? Yes, Nasser Sagabi, go ahead.
Miss, to stop anything unwanted to get in your lungs.
That's great. It's a second kind of defense. Remember yesterday, guys, when we spoke about the immunity, we said that mucus in our nose, it helps to trap in pathogens. Remember, pathogens are the viruses, bacteria, fungi, and so on, the ones that cause diseases. So not only your nose hair is to filter the entering air, but also the mucus within your nasal cavity is it's sticky, so it's to trap, capture any kind of virus or bacteria trying to get in. And one more thing, your nasal cavity or nasal chamber actually acts in cooling the entering air or warming it out, not to damage your lungs. If it is hot, too much hot around you, the hot air might damage your lung tissue. So your nasal cavity function is to little bit cool it down. And in case that it's so cold around you, it's winter and it's very cold outside, this cold air, too much cold air, can damage also your lungs. So the nasal cavity is going to warm it up. Think of your nasal cavity as AC. If it is hot, it makes the air cool. And if it is cold, it makes the air warm, just to make it suitable for your lungs. Okay? And actually, I'd like you to do something. With your tongue, touch the roof of your mouth. While we're doing it now, touch the roof of your mouth. If we penetrate the roof of your mouth, we will reach to the nasal cavity. One more time. Let me show it here on the diagram. You can see over here the mouth. Here's your mouth, okay? And this is actually the roof I'm asking you to touch with your tongue. If I penetrate through, I'll be here. I'll be in the nasal cavity. So your nasal cavity is directly above your mouth, okay? Of course, internally. Good. So far we said that the nose is the first part through which the air enters. And then second thing is your nasal cavity or nasal chamber. Great. Next, of course, air should get into your lungs. But how does it do so? You can see over here that we have a tube, and this tube is about 15 centimeters in length. It's called trachea. What is it called? Trachea. The CH pronunciated as K. Or simpler, more common name is called windpipe. Khalid Al-Ghanem, you have a question. Go ahead.
Isn't it esophagus?
Oh, thank you so much. Esophagus is here. Thank you so much, Khalid, for raising this part. This is the esophagus, guys. Here, let me type it in. Okay, this would be your esophagus. Remember when we spoke about the digestive system and we said within your neck, there are two tubes. One leading to your stomach, and it's not shown here, the stomach, because we're not talking about the digestive system. And another leads to your lungs, which is the trachea. Now, the esophagus over here is not complete because it should take food and liquids to your stomach. And today we're talking about the air and the oxygen and the carbon dioxide gases. So we're focusing mainly on the gases to the lungs. So when I speak about the tube leading the oxygen or the gases into the lungs would be your trachea, not the esophagus. Of course, the esophagus is present, but it's not going to be the one that we are focusing upon. Okay, Khalid?
Yes, okay.
Good. So first would be the nose, then the nasal cavity, and then the trachea. And an extra information for you here, guys, you can see that the trachea is kind of rings. You can see here small rings kind of drawn on top of the trachea. And this is because it's made up of a tough tissue that's called cartilage. This is extra for your knowledge. Cartilage, okay, is a kind of a tough tissue similar to the tip of your nose. Hold the tip of your nose. The tip of your nose is kind of soft, but at the same time, it's not collapsible. Like you do not collapse it and break it through. Not the bone. I'm not talking about the bone of your nose. I'm talking about the tip. Like the ear flap, your ears. They are soft, but at the same time, tough. This is simply the same that actually helps the trachea to stay open up. Whenever you're doing any kind of action or any kind of, let's say, movements, or let's say any kind of gymnastics, your trachea should not collapse. Collapse means to get closed, damaged, or kind of completely close altogether in order to allow gases in and of course out. So the cartilage that is here shown in small rings allows your trachea to stay always open up to get in oxygen and give off carbon dioxide. Next would be two tubes. Those two tubes are called bronchi. Those two tubes are called bronchi. And again, the CH would be pronounced as K. So trachea, CH is pronounced as K, and also bronchi. Those are they. This is one, and here's another. Each one is called bronchus, together bronchi. Now, those are just two tubes that lead into your lungs. So next would be your right lung, number 5, sorry for this, number 5. Next would be your right lung and left lung. It's where gas exchange happens. Now, in your lungs, you can see that the bronchi are branched into smaller and smaller tubes, and then they end up with small circles. You see those small circles? They are called alveoli. They are called alveoli, or simpler, more common, air sacs. They are like grapes. You know, the grape is kind of circle, small, and they are where gas exchange happens. So when I say gas exchange, like taking in oxygen, giving off carbon dioxide for the blood, we would say it's the lungs. But where exactly in the lungs? This would be your alveoli. Waleed, you're so late. We're almost to end the lesson. Good morning, Waleed. Okay, so back in here. So gas exchange happens in your lungs, but where exactly? In small sacs called alveoli. Now, last thing on the diagram is something known as diaphragm. Remember that the G is silent and the PH is to be pronounced as F. We took it earlier in the microscope, but today it's not the microscope part, it's a muscle. This muscle is found below your lungs and it helps with breathing in and out, as we're going to mention this through the lesson. So shown in front of you again are the parts of the human respiratory system. We breathe in through the nose. And then, of course, in the nose, we have the nose hair. That's to trap the dust and the disease-causing things. Behind it is the nasal cavity or nasal chamber, which has mucus, also to trap and or capture or catch any kind of bacteria or viruses, plus cool or warm the entering air. Then we have the trachea. Yes, Karim, you have a question. Go ahead.
What about epiglottis?
Oh, coming next. This would be the last. Thank you, Karim, for noticing this. Okay, now for trachea. Trachea would be this windpipe. It's a tube that leads the air to two smaller tubes called bronchi, then to the lungs. Let me erase all of those so that it will be easy looking at spotlight. Okay, so one more time. Nose, nasal cavity, trachea, two smaller tubes, bronchi, then in your lungs, and then the alveoli. And the diaphragm is the muscle below the lungs to help in breathing in and out. Now, as what Karim was asking about, and we spoke about earlier, guys, which is the epiglottis. Epiglottis over here. Yes, Nasser Sagabi, go ahead. I think you have an idea about it, right?
No, Miss, I wanted to ask something.
Okay, go ahead.
Miss, when you hold in your breath, what part of your respiratory system do you close?
Excellent. When you hold your breath, your diaphragm is the one trying not to push the gases out. It's actually, you are just blocking the pressure of air to be out or any pressure of air to be in. Who's helping you to maintain it this way? It's this muscle called the diaphragm. But after a few seconds or minutes, depends on how you're expert in holding your breath, the diaphragm will eventually allow this air out and make up for the oxygen in. Hope it's
Miss, don't you also close your epiglottis?
Of course, but no, the epiglottis does not close unless you're swallowing. Your epiglottis does not
So
close.
the food doesn't go in your windpipe.
Excellent. So here we go for this part. And we said it earlier in the digestive system, but again over here. You can see here a small kind of flap. This one here, guys. It's found in top of your trachea to prevent food and liquid from getting into the trachea. Food and liquid should not get into the trachea. Instead, it should go to your esophagus. Let me erase it again so that you can see it one more time. Here, this is your esophagus. Over here is the esophagus. Okay, it's where the food and liquids should go. The food and liquid should not go here in your trachea. So who prevents food and liquids from entering the trachea? It's this small flap called epiglottis. And I told you earlier this, and I want you to do it again, please. Hold your finger, okay, in your neck area, in the middle of your neck area, and swallow. Then you will feel something moving. It's actually this epiglottis closing the trachea to prevent anything to get inside except air. And remember earlier when we said if the epiglottis did not close properly, what will happen? Can you read what I'm writing? What will happen? Choke. Excellent, choke. If the epiglottis did not close properly and the liquid or air or food tries to get into your trachea, you choke and then you cough hard so that you get off or expel anything that was trying to get into your trachea, because trachea is just for wind or simply air. Okay, let's look at the diagram. Okay, as in the textbook, something in the textbook. So this one is a simple diagram. You can follow it just to see the parts more simple. And here, moving next to, here we go. Here's another one. Let's go to the one over here. Here you can see the trachea. You can see the rings. Okay, bronchus is only one tube. And here's another bronchus. So both of them are called bronchi. Inside, more branches, and then in the end we have the alveoli, the small sacs. The heart, can you see the heart in the middle, guys? This one here, the heart's in the middle. And then you can see two lungs and a muscle below, which is the diaphragm. Of course, your lungs are protected by the bones of, your lungs are protected by the bones of the
ribcage.
Ribcage. Excellent. Good job, guys. Okay. Then another diagram up here. You can see again the trachea. You can see the ribs covering the lungs. You can see the diaphragm down here. Here's the diaphragm. It's a big muscle underneath your lungs. Okay. And inside the lungs, don't forget the smaller tubes and the alveoli. Okay? Next, inshallah, by tomorrow, we're going to talk about how exactly the gases get exchanged inside your alveoli. And here's a diagram. This would be our topic by tomorrow. You can see here on those two diagrams, alveolus, which is one out of the alveoli. Actually, you have millions of alveoli in your lungs, and they are all just for gas exchange. By tomorrow, we will need to understand how exactly does this happen, how gas exchange happens between the lungs and the blood. But just for today, to wrap up the lesson, we were talking about our respiratory system. How does it help in gases, of exchange of gases to get in oxygen, to give off carbon dioxide? Remember when we said respiration is the process by which your cells use oxygen plus food in order to get energy, and your cells get the oxygen by the action of breathing, which happens through your respiratory system. Okay? Any questions for today's lesson, guys?
No, thank you.
Okay.
No, miss, thank you.
Up till now, we covered sections 13.1. 13.1 was just about the introduction of breathing, respiration, the organs through which different organisms use to breathe. 13.2, we are not done yet. We're still in 13.2, but we've just covered the human respiratory parts of. Today you have a simple assignment, which will be due tomorrow, inshallah, midnight as well, because I know that you still have the one for today. Your assignment is simple, just one page, which is this one here. It's just about the function of the respiratory system, to match the correct organ to the correct organism, and to label the parts of the respiratory system along with the function. But watch out for something important, guys. Read well over here. It says label the parts below using the words. So on the line, you will need to write the words. Then in the circles, you will put the letters based on the function. Okay, so for example, here, if it's the nose, so you write nose on the line. Then you check for the letters, which one is the correct letter matching the function. For example, here it would be letter C. So in the circle is the letter for the function, and on the line would be the name of the part. Okay?
For one is this, miss?
This would be by tomorrow midnight, inshallah. Okay? Tomorrow midnight. Fine. I will, inshallah, post on Google Classroom once we're done our recording for today. I'll post the PowerPoint presentation that we were using. I'll post the assignment, and I'll post also the summary. Okay, this is the summary for chapter 13. Let me share it. Here it is. You can see it here. This is the summary for chapter 13. We are almost done just with the first page, this one. Okay, we still have the rest of the pages throughout the coming lessons. Any questions, guys? Is everything clear for today?
No, thank you, miss.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. That's it for today. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow.
Thank you,
We
miss.
have only one homework, right?
Yes, Amiri. The one that I assigned yesterday is still for today midnight. The new one that I'm going to assign today will be, inshallah, for tomorrow midnight. So if you're done early, go ahead and submit, okay?
Okay, miss.
Yes, Amiri, go ahead.
No, Khalid.
Okay, fine. Khalid Ghanem, yes?
The school said they will accept me if I finish all the science assignments.
Not only the assignment, Khalid, it has to be also with the research, but we'll talk later on about the research for you and Mana.
What's research?
Me, miss.
No,
I have
Amiri, you don't have to do a research. Just Khalid Al-Ghanem and Mana. It's a
What's
kind
research?
it's a research, Khalid, about what we covered earlier, things that you've missed, to make sure that you got the concepts before we can issue a certificate, okay?
I don't know, but I finished all the assignments.
No worries. Okay. Yeah, I've seen that you've turned in the assignments. I already checked some of them, and the rest, inshallah, will be checked as soon as possible. And when it comes to the research, I'll let you know. Don't worry, Khalid. Okay. For now, just make sure that you're following up the lessons, participating as mashallah you were doing the assignments, and that's it. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Assalamu alaikum. Bye bye.
Thank you.